I read the ARC from Ned Galley of New Kings of the World, Dispatches from Bollywood, Dizi and K-pop by Fatima Bhutto, published by Columbia Global Reports in September 2019, and posted the review on Goodreads site the same year. And let me say right off the bat that even though there are 206 pages of it, this book is nothing more than very expensive toilet paper. Assalamu alaikum, I am Noor and you're listening to my review of the book. If there was a rating below 1, I would gladly have given it. Bhutto neither knows anything about any entertainment industry nor shows any desire to know. She is infuriatingly vapid here. Her focus is on geopolitics, not entertainment industry, and she gets that wrong too, connecting wild theories together without proof. Anyone listening to this audio review needs to check the reading updates I posted on Goodreads site to know the many facts she gets wrong, literally on every page. Honestly, she should stick to fiction. The editor at Columbia, if any was assigned, should have checked this puff piece for facts, hard-pressed to find any. Bhutto came to this project with a preconceived notion of A. appeasing the Indian diaspora abroad, who are the only reason why Indian industry has a market abroad. After all, white dudes in US and Europe are not watching tigers in the hair. B. Mixing current realities of Indian politics, Modi, and rise of Hindutva with anything and everything in Indian films, almost like throwing all to the wall to see which idea sticks. And C. Hitching a ride with Shahrukhan on a helicopter because nothing sells a book quite like an exclusive interview with SRK. Or she wanted to lend authenticity to a global project by talking to an Indian superstar, to the point that the whole project loses its purpose, which was to find out the reason why Korean, Japanese, Turkish, and Indian entertainment has such reach and appeal outside their native countries. I won't be surprised if this whole book came about at Columbia or New York City over tea and scones, with Bhutto Googling most of the stuff. Out went the alternative world where Korean, Japanese, and Asian music, dramas, films hold more power than Hollywood. Unlike Indian films, K-dramas and K-films are not being watched by just Koreans. Same is the case with their music. She probably doesn't know, but even China has its own base that Hollywood has been unable to crack. And it ain't the fault of Mao Zedong or skewed lenses of Hollywood. All these have a huge market and audience in English and non-English speaking worlds, that is in South Asia, Southeast Asia, Australia, Middle East, and Europe, where subtitled or dubbed in English versions are seen, usually via the internet. Yes, you heard me correctly. Subtitled versions, people. That is looking at the screen and reading dialogues while also trying to catch the visuals. People all over the world watch and love them. Bhutto is a rudderless, clueless ship going through a magical ocean, sifting the air and mistaking it for the wind, forest, and soul of creative, lucrative places. I consider this book to be myopic, a discriminatory, racist, ignorant, virtue-signaling, and propagandist farce. What made me even more mad is her lack of knowledge on Pakistan's entertainment industry, even TV. She spends most of the book lamenting the current political status of Muslims, talking about 3 Muslim countries, all in relation to one star of one country, that is, SRK from India. She is fixated with the idea that Muslims created entertainment as kings and were great as kings and now like to watch kings on TV and admire kings of cinema. This is as cliched and stereotypical a colonial concept as it gets. In her mind, US is the center of the universe, which has come to recognize the power of K-pop, Hindi cinema, etc., quite ignoring or not knowing the fact that many countries' entertainment culture has been seen, heard, loved, and copied for decades now, all over the world. Just because US daily news and nightly shows and Bhutto didn't know about it, doesn't mean it didn't have a huge fan base in US and the world for 30 to 60 years. Her focus for majority of this book is the cinematic career and political stances of the 3 Khans of Hindi cinema in India from the 90s, Salman Khan, Aamirkhan, and Shahrukhan. And that too only because of their Muslimness. and I found it deeply offensive when she assumes that their popularity is due to Muslim fans and hence not Hindus in India, not to mention anyone else, and does not even acknowledge the pluralistic nature of cinema or production houses that worked with each. It shocked me that she knew nothing about their films in their 30-plus years careers, political statements that each have made over the years, personal lives and image brands that they developed and have come to signify, or their fan bases, let alone anyone else's. Indeed, by her own admission, she only saw SRK's films a week before she had to interview him. She managed to watch 7, and then asks him, why can't the Bollywood hero catch a break? Why does he have to sacrifice? The book is full of this kind of inane, unfounded, pseudo-intellectual tripe. For example, she doesn't say which films she saw, but of the 100 films SRK has starred and cameoed in, he had an incurable disease in just one, Kal Ho Na Ho, kills himself in another, Dil Se, and is thrown in jail for life in Veer Zara. So I don't know where Bhutto gets the idea of his or any other hero's sacrifices from. She also credits him for knowing that the New World Order accommodates violent confrontation by picking psychotic roles in early films. Putting aside the fact that war or peacetime has nothing to do with how or which Indian film gets made, SRK came after the end of Cold War, fall of Berlin Wall, and Afghan War, and had zero choice over what he was offered in the beginning. Psychotic roles were a fad at the time, and he only got the said roles when other bigger names rejected the films, and he has played negative characters exactly 5 times in the last 27 years, but facts don't stop Bhutto from making nonsensical, baseless assertions. SRK's image has always been that of an Indian, not Hindu or Muslim. This is something Bhutto is unable to grasp. She is quick to correlate the rise of Khans with the rise of Hindutva. In her view, this was cinematic India's way of compensating Muslims for Ayodhya and political rise of Hinduism, quite ignoring cinematic realities of 90s, other extremely popular non-Muslim actors before, during and since these Khans, the underworld Muslim mafia's support for cinema, growing nexus of political and business leaders with actors, extortion rackets that killed people like Gulshan Kumar, opening up of private sector entertainment market in India, and impact of globalization. She ignores all of it. She is obsessed with the idea of how Muslim their brand is or films are. She confidently and incorrectly says Salman Khan had a Muslim identity in his films, which she thinks means not being pushed around by a woman, and that Aamirkhan didn't overtly express himself as a Muslim and has pro-Modi persona. She quotes his views on demonetization but doesn't know about his statements on dam building, religious intolerance, lynchings, or his Hajj, or the fact that he is the only actor to do a live charity marathon on GeoTV from Dubai during Mangal Pandey days. To her, what matters more is whether they were Muslim enough on screen or not. She has no basis to say any of this, quotes no sources for this analysis, is factually wrong, and frankly is extremely annoying. I doubt she has seen any of their films or read any interviews or has seen any other Indian film of any other actor either. Not that it matters, but Salman Khan's film image is that of the evergreen child man doing the right thing, a perennially underrated and scandal-ridden actor who got his first Filmfare Award as Best Supporting Actor for Kuch Kuch Hota Hai, 10 years after entry into films. I am not counting his Best Debut Award for Maine Pyar Kiya. Aamir Khan's brand as the perfectionist took 12 years and won Lagan. He poo-poos Filmfare but goes to Oscars, developing himself as the conscience of Indian civil society. This is all to make money and stay relevant in the age of celebrity culture. The only time Salman Khan played the Muslim card is when he got into trouble with the law, as did Sanjay Dutt, the number 1 actor in 92-93. Same as SRK, who played it into a controversy during My Name Is Khan's promotions, only because he understands the power of clickbait and 24-hour news cycle better than anyone else. Basically, this is an author who doesn't even know Indian or Hindi cinema's history, actors and film's trajectory, or the corporatization of celebrity culture, the migrant population in Africa, Europe and America and its impact, the support to local businesses through star appearances, the use of universal themes of sports, war, love, poverty, and enduring popularity of musicals, all of which are directly responsible for global mass appeal of Indian films, the centerpiece of this exercise. तुझे देखा
तो ये जाना सनम.
I also found her assertion that the same forces that brought SRK into limelight are now trying to dismantle him as deeply racist. SRK has had 25 years of superstardom. At the time of the book's publication, he was 53 years old. Everyone's popularity wanes with time. That's the nature of showbiz and future of any number one or superstar actor. His last big hit, Chennai Express, was almost a decade ago, but he's still the go-to guy for endorsements and promotions and speaking engagements. Personally, I think he should break the shackles of his carefully curated and maintained image and go wild with directors of South Indian cinema. That is, writers and directors from Tamil, Telugu, Malayalam and Kannada languages who are doing original work which is being copied and rehashed by lazy losers of Hindi cinema. In my view, Hindi cinema has been in decline for quite a few decades now, being run by franchise owners who treat the films and creative talent as fast food burgers. The same thing over and over again for mass consumption and easy money. Nothing wrong with making money, but the downside is there is nothing new to offer. SRK, now in his lean, awkward, middle-aged and, well, over-the-hill phase, where nobody knows how to package him anymore, could do wonders by getting a South Indian director on board red chilies instead of copy-pasting Scandinavian thrillers. Who knows? Maybe he'll discover a new expression. But it will limit his ability to sell stuff, and he probably doesn't want to rock that lucrative boat. Everyone's favorite lover boy, brother, husband, son, father, father-in-law, grandfather, the Holy Ghost. A lot of hard work went into building that citadel. He doesn't want to change, and that limits his options.
प्यार होता है दीवाना सनम.
But I digress. Coming back to Bhutto's book and her latent racism in suggesting that SRK is being brought down not by flop films and old age, but rather through some nefarious and diabolical scheme against him because he's a Muslim king of entertainment. I wonder what Bhutto would have made of Rajesh Khanna's debacle in 1974 or Amitabh Bachchan's lean years in 1980s. Would she have suggested that some grand conspiracy brought an adopted child of nobody's, that is Rajesh Khanna, into limelight, and then threw an educated middle-class Hindu, that is Bachchan, at him only to cast him aside for a Muslim boy from Delhi's ghettos, aka SRK? This is not the way cinema is read or thought or seen, and Bhutto should use common sense and know better. It is very inappropriate. As for her interview with SRK, Pakistan has the unique distinction, in my opinion, and I, unlike Bhutto, know what I'm talking about, of taking the 4 worst interviews ever of SRK, all marred by the self-involved and self-obsessed interviewees who had done zero research on him. 3 of the interviews were done in Dubai during promotion of SRK Kajal starrer Dilwale by Hum and Sama TV cable channels. Host Sanam Jung kept telling Shahrukh how she had been offered Indian films and she didn't do them for ABC reasons. Host Shaista Lodhi kept talking about how she keeps her skin youthful and what she eats. Host Sahir Lodhi kept talking about how his career has closely resembled that of SRK, how he was an RJ when SRK played one in Dil Se. Reality check for all these wannabes and never was is, who gives an FUCK? You have once in a lifetime 20-minute opportunity to sit and talk to this guy. Be useful for God's sake. GeoTV's current affairs host Hamid Mir Saab did the 4th cringe-inducing interview during promotion of Fan, where SRK kept his dark black aviator glasses on the entire time. He was that tuned out of it, or maybe he was hungover. I don't know. It was a weird spectacle. No pun intended. Bhutto joins this esteemed panel as the 5th, not because she is self-involved, she isn't, but for her lack of research into the shrewd workaholic businessman sitting across from her, who is sounding bored of her breezy questions, an expression he has carried for 20 years now. Nothing rattles him anymore. She doesn't even know the basics. He's never on time, usually late by 2 to 4 hours everywhere. He once famously said, "Time starts when I enter the room," and is perturbed that she has to wait. Her capacity to create illusions of depth is limited to connecting 2 totally different and non-linear events together and justifying her thoughts as truths, ignoring the subject matter entirely. Reading her exasperating non-interview with SRK is like reading about the chemical process of paint drying infinitum. It's not even an interview on the topic of the book. It's more like sharing a helicopter ride with one of the biggest superstars in the world while he's working and getting to write exactly that in a ham of a book. SRK reportedly got a crore plus for an hour's work on the Egyptian Europunked fake reality TV show that she hitched a ride for, which she, of course, doesn't know nor asks. She's more concerned that SRK will not eat his eggs if she doesn't have some. Oh boy. Okay, maybe she is as self-absorbed as the other bad interviewees. For those keeping track, the 6th worst SRK interview was done by Zainab Badawi for BBC's Hard Talk, who kept talking quite unnecessarily about objectification of women in his films. He kept sighing as if tired of her questions. If the book is about SRK's rise, then ask him relevant, hard-hitting questions. The ones that came to my mind are given in the review posted on Goodreads' site. Basically, this is a guy who has mastered the art of saying nothing while saying a lot. So I don't know, anything is better than SRK casually asking his manager which movie he's referring to. Bhutto's chat with him is a real snooze fest. How can anyone sit in front of one of the most interesting men in the world and deliver a snooze fest? Well, Bhutto can. She also thinks anti-Pakistan sentiment in India is due to Narendra Modi. She apparently doesn't know that Indian news channels have always followed the Indian security establishment's foreign policy narrative, just like media in US, UK and France follow their states' policies. For example, I have never seen a US current affairs show being pleasant about Iran, Cuba, Russia or China or criticize Israel. Unlike Pakistanis who got to see Indian Hindi films through decades of smuggling and developed a sense of kinship with Indian stars and culture because the films helped humanize Indians to Pakistanis, all that Indian people have seen and have been shown is Pakistan's army, ISI, Hafiz Saeed and 3-4 terror attacks in Indian cities that their security apparatus blames Pakistan for. Of course they'll hate Pakistan. It's unfair, but there it is. Their films have always portrayed Pakistanis as either terrorists or caricature of Lucknow Muslims, representing a culture I have never seen in Pakistan. They don't know us at all, and by the looks of it, don't want to either. If the book is about why Indian film industry have a market outside India, then she could have easily spoken to a distributor or Yash Raj production house or guys at Netflix and Amazon or Indian diaspora to give her an idea. Over the phone, from New York City, having tea and scones. What Turkish superstar Halit Ergenç brushed off over cold tea in a cafe tells Bhutto is gold and really what is going on in terms of popularity of Turkish and Korean stuff globally. While Hollywood is fluff, fast and meaningless, full of repetitious good, bad, white, black world, churning out yet another legal, medical, police, sports drama, countless love problems sitcoms, the Turkish and Korean stuff focus on emotions, human element and fallibility of people. Their greyness is celebrated. Nothing is black and white in their world. No hero is totally good. They are not afraid of the mess of war, history, politics, culture and what it means for their people. They are unapologetic of the past. They tell it like it is, most of the time. Family, relationships and respect for seniors at work is important. It's almost an Eastern thing which West will never understand. Of course, New York-based Bhutto doesn't get it. Unfortunately, this book is about what Bhutto thinks has happened in Indian politics with the re-election of Modi, what she thinks has happened in Turkish politics, what she thinks has happened in Syria, Egypt and Saudi Arabia, what she thinks has happened in Pakistani politics. Korean politics is not mentioned. Truth, facts, pop culture and cinema play the role of an extra here. A backup dancer nobody knows, notices or remembers. Thank you for listening.